Hello. I am making a micro journal for a swap that I'm doing with somebody. I can't show what's inside right now because I don't want her to sneaky peek. I don't know. I'm not wording. My English is broken. I need school to start again so that my brain will turn back on. Anyway, micro journal. I'm swapping a micro journal. Seriously, you guys, I'm swapping a micro journal with socks, paper, scissors. And a micro journal is the size of, it's about the size of playing cards. Think of it like an Altoid tin, about the size of an Altoid tin. So the journal that we are swapping is going to be 3 signatures, and we decided a max of 1.5 inch spine, and so I went ahead and made mine max. I don't have the cover on yet. I haven't made the cover. I have some lace, and I'm going to dye some lace, and then I'm going to decide if I want to use that for the cover or if I just want to use that as embellishments. Another thing that I'm planning on doing for this is taking probably this piece because it's a brilliant blue, and so I know it will show through, and then some of my pattern tissue paper, and I think I'm going to make just a sort of floppy cover. But I haven't decided yet. So anyway, to do my lace dyeing in, just as a small batch, I just have my metal tray that I got from the Not Really a Dollar Store. And I have a water spray bottle. The only reason that I have this Tim Holtz spray bottle is because it was super on sale. Seriously, no reason to go out and buy a spray bottle. You can wash something that you have in a dishwasher and use that. But this does have a really cool feature where you can just slightly push it and it will actually, you can control the drips a little bit more. I think that's the only difference between this and a regular spray bottle. I don't know. But anyway, water spray bottle. And then I have my water reactive inks. And again, I use Tim Holtz because where I live, this is the more cost-effective ink. There's another brand, but I don't usually use it because actually I don't use it. It's never on sale. Tim Holtz is always on sale. So I buy my supplies on sale. In fact, most of my Tim Holtz inks I get from the thrift store, and then I can put a little ink refresher on them, and I usually get enough life out of them to make it worth, spending the $2 instead of the $8 or whatever it is. But anyway, not that you wanted to know all of that, but apparently I feel like babbling today. So, the difference between Distress ink and Distress oxide, for those of you that don't know, Distress oxide is opaque. So, if I want to be able to see through whatever I'm doing, then I would use Distress ink. If I want to usually use the oxide if I get a little too heavy with a color or something and I need to tone it down a little bit, I'll use the oxide. Also, I have found, I don't have it here. Here it is. I have found that I actually prefer, when I'm distressing the edges of my work, I prefer to do my edges with oxide rather than ink. It seems to cover nicer, goes faster, And I seem to use less ink if I do my edges with oxide than if I do ink, but that's just my preference. Anyhow, so the colors that I have, in fact, I'm going to need this one. I grabbed a couple of my blues. I've got Faded Jean and Salty Ocean, and then I have my Vintage Photo, the brown, and then just in case to be ready, I have Chip Sapphire, Speckled Egg, Antique Linen, and Gathered Twigs in my oxide. So basically, for those of you that are using other colors, I have a dark blue, a light blue, an off-white, and a brown. And then here I have a bright blue, a dark blue, and a brown. Okay, so got that. And then I have, I'm actually out of my page protectors that I usually have lying around for, you know, the plastic. Sorry for the noise here. I'm trying to get the plastic bag. So I just have a plastic bag that I'm going to use. And then I have my laces and some gloves. I usually don't use gloves, but I do go back to school in a week. And I'm starting to teach at a new school this year. So I don't want to make a first impression with weird looking grungy fingers. But these gloves usually end up not working so well anyway. I don't know. It says these are non-latex, but it seems like whenever I use them, water does manage to get in. So we'll see what color my hands are when we finish this. Then I've got my scraps and pieces. This is already a beautiful color, this scrap of lace. Let me put it up to white so you can see. It's a very pretty kind of cornflower blue color. But I want to give it just a little bit of depth and dimension, so I grabbed that one too. Alright, so here we go. So the first thing I am going to do is put on my gloves. Now I am not a small woman, so it's always fun seeing what's going to fit and what's not going to fit when I use things like this. All right, gloves on. Oh, it was like Minnie Mouse. Okay, so first I'm going to start with the bright blue and kind of see what that's going to turn out like. So I'll put a little bit of that on there. And I'm not going to mix any colors right now. I'm just going to see what I've got. Okay, so I'm going to start by getting my fabric or lace or whatever it is damp. And then squirt a little bit of water on there. Okay, and let's see, let's do a little test. Ooh, that is very pretty. Look at that. Holy cow, that's gorgeous. So, do a little picking up here. Okay, and set that one out. You know, I should have just soaked these in water. That would have been much easier. But, you know, I just have a way of making things difficult. Let's do this one. Okay, so I'm gonna mush these up. Just get a little bit of color on here. Weird red string in there. And last a little bit. It's nice and wet. And I've got a little bit of extra water on there, dab that off. Woo. And then bundle these. Those around a bit. All right, so now let's see what our base looks like here. I do also have a heat gun standing by when I'm ready. One didn't get very much at all. One didn't get much. Okay. So I want a little bit more on this one. And maybe this one. Those. All right. That's soaked through nice. Okay. Now I'm going to take some faded jeans. Oh, I didn't tell you, I also have some chipped sapphire stain that I might be using a little bit later. This piece here, I did this one with chipped sapphire and forest moss. I did this with stain, and then I used a little vintage photo ink also. Without giving it away, like I said, I could go many directions with the color of this, so I haven't yet decided if I want to stick with the muted, darker, more earthy tones, or if I want to do something a little brighter. Now this is too bright. I will need to mute this, but then, you know, whether or not I'm going to use these, we'll see. I haven't decided. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add some dark to these, and I'm going to do that the same exact way, only faded jeans this time. I'm going to add my ink. Grab a couple pieces at one time. They are still pretty wet, but you know, just to keep it. Put them on there. Up. Squash them up. If you are a sensory If you like sensory input, this is a perfect task. If you have a child that has sensory input issues or a child that is calmed by sensory input, this is a great thing to have them help you with. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this, but you can see it's got both hues of the blue. I don't know if you can see that either. This one, the side with the sparkles you can't really see, but the side with the strings you can, which is interesting. So I've never really played around with this before. This is my first time dyeing this kind of fabric. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. All right, I've got a little more in here. I'm just going to do this one all by itself. There we go. Okay, that one. Pick up some of that. I am kind of digging the way that this is coming out, but I think I might play with that one a little bit more. Okay, so we've got those. I'll sit over there a bit. I only have these ones left. Okay. Now, the wetter your material is, the more the ink is going to spread, because this is water reactive ink. So if you want it more splotchy looking, then I would suggest not wetting your material as much. Maybe get some color on there first and then give it a good squirt after. Well, that one's turning out nice. Ooh, I like this one. That's pretty. I like the different colors. In fact, this one I'm going to call done. This was not white. This was the cream colored lace. So I don't need to go and add any vintage stuff. I mean, I could if I wanted to give it a little bit more depth, but I really like this. So I'm going to call that one finished. There's that one. Ooh, I really like this too. I think this one's going to be done. All right, so add that to the done pile. I'm not sure about that one, if I want that one to be done or not. This one, that one's going to need something. All right, now this thing, this is its own mess. All right, so first I want to do the edges a little bit. There we are with that one. That looks tie-dyed, doesn't it? Okay. I have never been somebody that has been able to leave white in journals. If I really liked that white, I mean, I do like the blue and white. I think it's gorgeous. But to me, I don't know. White doesn't make me feel like the journal is done. But this would be pretty if you're if you have that kind of taste where you like the white. But since I don't, this is going to be one that I'm actually going to add some vintage photo to. But before I do that, I just want to make sure I think I'm going to do a couple more layers on that one. Let me get the green off here and actually get a white background so we have a better idea of what we're looking at here. Move the green. Okay. So this is what we've got. And that one we know we're going to add more. Okay. So this one, I really like the sort of the teal look to it. What I'm going to do, I'm just trying to decide because this half is darker and this half is lighter. I'm going to save half of it just how it is, and then I'm going to do more to the other half. I think I'm going to save this half. Okay, so we'll call that one done. So I'll do more to this. And this one, I like that. Here, I think I'm going to cut off a little piece of this one and save that, and then do more here. I like this right here. I'm going to do more to that. And then this one we're doing more to, we know. This one I'm going to do more to. This one I'm going to do more to. Okay. So, let me lay these out to dry quickly because I don't want them kind of rubbing into each other anymore. Let me set these out. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this. Okay, there we go. Leave that there so that you can see it for a second. Okay, so set those off to dry. And let's work on these. And then we still have this guy, but I'm going to add stuff to him later. Okay. So this one, I want more of the bright. This is the only one that I want to add more of the bright color to. This time I'm gonna I've got it bunched up. I'm gonna kind of pick up some of the ink that way. Yeah, that's better. That's a brighter color. And let's see if we can get this to pick up some of that bright color too. A little bit. Let's just use this to wipe off the last of the bright. Okay. Now it is time for, I do want a little darker on this one. And this one, I want a little more of the dark color. And this one, that one I think is good. So these are ready for brown. This one, do I want to add more dark? Yes, but I'm going to do this one differently. I'm going to use the stain on that one. Okay. So for starters, we're going to take the two laces and let's use the stain. Wrinkle these up, little dabby, dabby, dabby. Okay, and then let's see what we've got here. All right. With that. Okay, let's go back to the faded jeans. You can tell I can never make up my mind. Ooh, yes. Look at the depth of that color. You see that? Is that beautiful? That one is going to the done pile. I'm not going to add any brown on that one. I like that. Okay. And this one also looks pretty. Okay, so these go over here. Now this one, I want it to be a little darker. Okay, set that one over for a bit. And set this one over for a bit. These two are, I have to do those a little bit differently. that I'm doing these ones. Okay. So now we're going to add a little aging here. I'm trying to decide which shade of, this is a lighter shade of brown. But I really like the color of Vintage Photo. Let's go with this one. All right. So now I'm going to just get a little bit of the edges in here. Not much. So I'm going to go back in with a darker color. And I won't show you this just yet because it, you know, oxide is a little weird. Like I said, you can see how it's very opaque and the color of the oxide picks up quite a bit easier than the color of just the regular ink. Okay, so there we go. Now how much you want to bet this ends up being a journal page at some point in the future? Don't throw anything away, right? Okay. So now I've got that little base. Now I'm going to add a little of the stain. There we go. My gloves are kind of gray. I'll show you on the white paper. And go here. So let's see. Now what am I going to do with this guy? Let's hold off on him a little bit. Let's do this tiny bit. Okay. So here's what we're going to do with this one. I am going to put some of that in there. And some of that. And throw this guy in here. Absorb all that I just did. And now he's pretty wet, so when I squeeze it, it's gonna kind of like on this one, I don't know if you noticed, but this was much more blended. When it's wet and you give it a good squeeze, then that'll run that ink through in a more uniform way. But this is a pretty thick piece, so not going to be totally uniform, but you can see how it's blended much more by putting it in that bag where I can just really squeeze it and soak up the water. Okay. And this last bit where I wanted to give a little bit of depth to this, and I want a little dark edge on here. So 2 things left to do, and then I'll show you. We'll go with the heat gun and dry it, and then we'll see what we've got. So I want not my twigs. I use Vintage Photo. So I'm not using the oxide now, I'm using the ink on this one. And what I want is this raggedy edge, so I'm going to kind of scrunch it to where that raggedy edge is all there, as you can see. So the raggedy edge is all together, because that's the part that I want to pick up the ink. So do a little there on the edge, so that what we end up with is something like this. Those of you that like eco dyeing, if you're impatient one day and you don't want to wait the 3 days that it takes to eco dye, this is a cheat, a way you can cheat. Okay, and then put that there on my future journal cards. Soak up all my ink off of my not really a dollar store tray. And let's see, here we go. Ta-ta! Woo! Look at that. All right, so now I said it's going to be a neat page. Now see, I want to do like a squirrel and start playing with my stain and turning this into a page, but then what I'll do is then I'll end up turning this into a signature, and then I'll end up starting a whole new journal, which is what I did yesterday. And so now I've got 4 journals going at one. Sorry, I have hiccups. 4 journals going at one time. Okay. So these are the ones that we're just letting sit and not adding any more to. This is old. I don't know if you can see the watermark right here. This is old typing paper back in the day, you know, when they had typewriters. Put this down, and this can actually become a signature page at one point. Picking up some of that ink. Got a little bit there. Okay. So, put that back down. Now, I actually shouldn't have taken off my gloves yet because now I'm going to get the stain on my hands this way. Put these down so we can see. Oh, I forgot to add some dimension to that. This guy is pretty much dry already. He did turn out nice. Then we have this one. Grab another piece of paper. If you recognize sounds, yes, that was the sound of crutches. While I was on vacation, I was not doing anything exciting. I was just walking and I fell down and I broke my left ankle and I sprained my right ankle. So now I am not supposed to put any weight on my left ankle and barely any weight on my right ankle. So it's pretty interesting. I've never been injured before in my life. I'm 51 years old. Never been injured before in my life. So learning how to walk on crutches has been an adventure. And I'm very uncoordinated. There, can you see that? Okay. So those are the ones that we have right there. All right. Let's turn on the heat gun and see what we got. All right, well, I did end up with a little bit of ink on my hands, but whatever. Okay, so here's what we ended up with. We've got all these little strips. I think this one might be my favorite, because it looks like it's monochrome, but then when you look up close, you can see there are very subtle changes in hue. It's more of a cornflower blue, so I don't know if it's going to go with the journal that I'm doing. I might save it for another one, but moral to this story is do not spend your money buying all the colored lace when you can buy the cheap reams of white lace on sale from the thrift store, or even Temu has white lace, very inexpensive, and then you can just cut snippets of it and dye it whatever color you want. There's no reason to spend all that money on lace. This is, okay, so this one here is the one that I kept and didn't add any more to. And it goes from darker to lighter. And then this is the one that we continued and added more stain. There, that's right side up. And another couple layers of color. And then this one as well. This is the one that we kept and didn't add any more. And then this is the one that we continued, which is right side up, this side, continue to work on. So you can see the difference there. And then we have, find a white, here's white. This one, just the right side. This is hard for me to tell with my glasses on. Nope, this is the right side. Oh, I don't know. think that one's going to be whatever side I decide is the right side is the right side. And this one. And then, of course, we have the one that I never ended up adding more depth to, that I already took off my gloves. But that is our dyed lace. And many of those pieces will go into this little micro journal that is a work in progress. And the rest will go to my stash. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Cheers, happy trails, have a good weekend, whatever they say. Let's see, have a good day. One last tip while I'm cleaning up my mess. These are the papers. This was the paper that I had underneath, and then, you know, this is the typing paper that I used, and I said I'm probably going to save those for signatures. Hint, what I've started doing is I kind of add to signatures as I go. So these sort of naturally became the start of 2 signatures. And I just have a little box and I keep them stacked. In fact, let me grab one. So see, here's one that I have stacked in there right now. And I just add to it as I go. And then when it gets to where I think that is a complete signature, I close it with a paper clip. These are the ones I have. So what I end up with are just a bunch of ready to go signatures. And then when I am actually making a journal, all I need to do is just add a couple pages that go with whatever theme I'm doing. So you can see here, I've just got some started. And then these are the ones that I said, okay, they've got my paper clip on there, so I know. All right, those ones are done. I'm not going to do any more with those. And then I just keep them stacked in my drawer or in my box like this, and I just add to them. And so I've got several signatures at the ready, which saves time. And it's a good way, you know, sometimes you're working and you come across that one page that is the perfect page and you think, oh, that would look so good in a journal, but you're not really doing anything that goes with that particular one at the time, and you don't want to put it in your box of book pages because they'll get buried in there and you'll never see it again. So you can start a signature and then add to it as you go when you're doing your work. And I found that I end up using a lot more of those pages that I really like that would disappear previously. So that's your tip of the day. Happy journaling. See you later. Like and subscribe, and have a good day.